In this world, nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. Benjamin Franklin, 1789. Many are familiar with this quote, but not many are familiar with its often omitted first half. Here is the quote in full. Our new Constitution is now established and has an appearance that promises permanency, but in this world nothing can be said to be certain except death and taxes. With this added context, we can see that despite Franklin's approval of the document, he nonetheless had his doubts regarding the lasting power of the Constitution. Over 230 years and 27 amendments later, while the Constitution itself remains intact, its ability to limit the powers of those in Washington has clearly faded. While many reasons can be attributed to this fall from grace, there is one fatal flaw of the Constitution which made its demise inevitable. It did not separate money and state. Enter Bitcoin in 2009, the first financial asset with a verifiably scarce supply. No one can change its total supply of 21 million coins, not even the most powerful government in the world. And while many people are familiar with the 21 million hard cap on Bitcoin, few understand its implications. 21 million Bitcoin brings certainty. This certainty can be contrasted with the uncertainty of all other financial assets, specifically the US dollar. At the time of the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, the entire US dollar M2 money supply sat at about $16 billion. Today it has increased by a whopping 127,000% to over $20 trillion. To put this massive expansion of the money supply and its subsequent devaluation into perspective, consider the fact that the current estimated worth of Jeff Bezos is over 12 times greater than the entire American money supply of 1913. The only certainty that the US dollar brings is the certainty of an infinitely increasing supply. Anyone who has trusted the government and Federal Reserve to preserve the long-term purchasing power of their currency has been severely disappointed. A grandfather wishing to save money to pass down to his grandchildren has had the value stolen from him. $100 in 1970 is only able to buy roughly $13 worth of goods today. Said differently, it would require roughly $700 today to purchase what $100 was able to buy in 1970. Each and every day, as more US dollars are created, $1 becomes a smaller portion of the total supply of dollars. The same cannot be said for Bitcoin. One Bitcoin in 2009 was equal to the same percentage of 21 million as one Bitcoin is today, and as one Bitcoin will be 10 years from now. With Bitcoin, businesses, families, and individuals finally have an instrument through which they can preserve and pass down their hard-earned wealth over time, with certainty that the value will not be confiscated through debasement. It is true that there are no guarantees regarding Bitcoin's purchasing power over time. However, the guarantee of scarcity is a far more attractive offer from a value preservation perspective than the US dollar's guarantee of an endlessly increasing supply. Over the entirety of Bitcoin's lifetime, its purchasing power has trended upward, while over the entirety of the US dollar's lifetime, the purchasing power has trended downward. This is not a coincidence, and there is no reason to expect this trend to reverse. Equipped with a store of value that not only preserves purchasing power, but increases in purchasing power over time, will help to definancialize our severely over-financialized economy. Instead of doctors, carpenters, and other specialized workers needing to become adept stock pickers, or pay financial advisors high fees just in order to beat inflation, they will simply be able to focus on their craft while trusting that their hard-earned wealth is being protected in the Bitcoin network. Those who choose to preserve their wealth in Bitcoin need not trust that anyone in power will uphold any promises. Since there is no central figure or organization behind Bitcoin, there is no need to trust anyone at all. The same cannot be said for the US dollar system, which requires trust in both the government and central bank, both of which have objectively failed to preserve their currency's purchasing power over time. A common misconception among those new to Bitcoin is the concern that Bitcoin's code could be hacked to remove the supply cap of 21 million. The truth is that the code does not even need to be hacked for someone to make this change. Bitcoin is completely open source, meaning anyone with basic programming skills can make alterations, such as changing the supply. However, one of the many paradoxes of Bitcoin is the idea that Bitcoin's code being open for anyone to see or change is the very thing that causes it to stay the same. Many attempts have been made to change Bitcoin's fundamentals, and all have failed. The most famous is the 2017 attempt to increase Bitcoin's block size, which simply resulted in the creation of a new altcoin called Bitcoin Cash. More details regarding Bitcoin's design will be explained in a future video, but the main takeaway is this: the 21 million Bitcoin limit is not going anywhere. Thanks to Satoshi's invention/discovery of digital scarcity, It may well be time to update Ben Franklin's phrase to include not only death and taxes, but now 21 million Bitcoin as well.